Hi, I'm Rupal. How are you all? 2025 is done and dusted. We are 7 days into 2026 now. So, Happy New Year, first of all. This is a video where I'm going to share with you all of my favorite reads of 2025. I read 31 books and I already have like 10 in my list to share with you as my favorites, which is so good because I adopted this habit called DNFing a book in 2025, where I just DNF'd books left, right, and center the moment I realized I was not enjoying them. The moment I realized that, okay, even if I've only read like 2 to 3 pages, I'm not feeling this book, so I'll just DNF it. Even if I have read like 75% of the book, the moment I realized that, okay, this book is not doing anything for me, DNF it. That habit made me read so many good books. Even though I was in a reading slump in the beginning of the year, I ended up having a really good reading year. And if you can, just identify like 5, 10, or 15 books out of the total number of books, in my case 31 books, that have, if I have to rate books, then have become like 4 or more than 4 stars, then that's a pretty good reading year for me. And out of the 31, these are the books that have turned out to be my favorites. So, yeah, enjoy this list. I have not organized this list in any sort of way, like not least to most favorite or anything. I'm instead going to take you chronologically, like the book that was my favorite in the beginning of the year to the book that I last gave 5 stars to. So, yeah. The first favorite of 2025 is All the Lovers in the Night by Mieko Kawakami. I loved this book. This is about our main character who is a freelancer and she is completely isolated from the world. Like she is so lonely. She is not in contact with anyone except for her boss, her editor in chief, who gives her work, who provides her with jobs to do. Like that is the only person that she ever talks to. Otherwise, she is completely lonely. She doesn't have a single friend or anyone to talk to. At times I just felt pity for her because I used to think that I was sad, but then I read about her and I'm like, you need a hug. You just need therapy or you need hug. We follow her just trying to navigate her loneliness, navigate her grief, whatever is causing her grief. Then we also follow her having this crush, having this infatuation in a stranger, in a mysterious person, and how she, describes her crush is just so accurate. The way we normal people have crushes, and we see her adapt, like we see her reading astrology books because the other person that she's interested in teaches astrology or something in his high school, and we see her trying to become this person that the other person would be interested in. And throughout this book, it's not just about her loneliness, her misery, or her crush infatuation, but it is about her finding a connection with someone. It is about her trying to talk to someone because every one of us need someone to talk to, need someone to communicate with. And our main character also just wants a friend. She just wants to let out her feelings. She wants to just, do some random stuff with her friend. She wants to communicate with someone. She wants to connect. Like that connection, that human connection is something that she was really longing for, even when she did not know that this is something she was longing for. And it is just really, really beautifully written. Like the first page onwards, the first line onwards, you just get sucked into the story, you get sucked into the loneliness, and you just find some parts of yourself in this book, in the main character. So yeah, this was my first favorite book of 2025. I adore it. Next favorite of mine is The Vegetarian by Kang. This is about a woman who's just done with life. She's done with being a woman. She's done with being this thing that society pressures her into to be, and now she just wants to take back the control of her life. And we see her doing this not through her own perspective, but through the perspective of people around her. It's a very, very interesting book. In this book, Young Hae suddenly decides to become a vegetarian, and she's South Korean, so I'm not stereotyping, but according to this book at least, it is considered a taboo to become a vegetarian, to not eat meat in South Korea. So when people around her discover, when they realize that Young Hae has become a vegetarian, that she is not going to eat meat anymore, they just cannot comprehend this thought at all, because why would you not eat meat, like, huh? But yeah, that is what she decides, because she is so done with being treated as an object, as not a human being, that she thinks that if I stop eating meat, if I stop just doing what society tells me to do, then I will become my own person. But the people around her, they just don't want to accept that, and they just want to force her to become the sort of person that they want her to be. And we, yeah, read about that in this book. We see her husband, we see her brother-in-law, we see her parents, we see outsiders, everyone just treating her like, the thing that you find in the corner of your house, like a chair in the corner of your house. They don't treat her as her own person at all. They don't let her have her own opinion or her idea, or just they don't let her have an identity. And we don't really get to see what she is thinking about in this whole situation at all. This book is written from three perspectives, and none of them are from the main character Young Hae. And that is the most interesting part about this book, because we are reading about a woman who has no identity, and even when narrating the story, we don't get to see her perspective at all. So, yeah, I think that was just really brilliant. My favorite part about this book is the third part of the story, like when we read the story from Young Hae's sister's point of view, because through her perspective, we kind of get a glimpse into what Young Hae must have been thinking, what must have been going on through her mind when she decided to become a vegetarian. Why, like, what kind of troublesome thoughts must she be having? What kind of troublesome things she was facing, she was going through, that made her like tilt towards this drastic decision. That is something that we kind of get a glimpse at from her sister's point of view, and that is the one that I absolutely adore. Like, that was the best part about this book, and that is what made this book my favorite, because the first two parts are just disgusting. It's heinous. I hated it. I wanted to throw this book, but the third part really saved it. So this is another favorite of mine. Next is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I was reading this book along with The Vegetarian, like I was reading both of these simultaneously. And at one point, I think I was slipping into depression myself, because both of these books are just so depressing. They really drain the energy out of you, but they are written so beautifully that you just cannot help but read them, even when they are making you really sad. But yeah, that's what I did. And I mean, who in the right minds would read both of these books together? Apparently me. So normally, when I pick up a book that is really hyped up or really popular, I try not to get my hopes too high, because otherwise I would obviously end up being disappointed. But that was not what happened with this book. I had really high hopes, because honestly, I did not see even one single negative review when I was going through the YouTube reviews of this book. No one, and I mean no one, talked really bad about this. Everyone included this in their 5-star reads. So I had my hopes pretty high up, and this exceeded them all. Like, wow. This book is a memoir about the author's abusive relationship with her ex girlfriend, where the ex girlfriend mentally assaulted her throughout the whole book, throughout their whole relationship. She just gaslighted her, and yeah, it was traumatizing to read this book. I don't even want to imagine what the author must have felt when she was in that situation, because I just felt so much anger and sadness and confusion when I was reading this. So, like, imagine the author's anger and author's confusion. This book is not her trying to tell you that, oh, look, something traumatic happened to me. It is just her trying to make sense, to try to give words to the things that happened to her, to try to give words to her feelings, to her thoughts, and just to let everything out. Like, this is kind of not a memoir or like an information or something. It is more of a diary, and it hurts to read her diary. But yeah, we did through this book. It was amazing. I don't have any more words to explain this book, except that it was beautiful. It was really beautiful, but heartbreaking. So trigger warnings when you read this, but so worth it. Like, it's just really beautiful. The next two books are on the opposite side of the spectrum as compared to The Vegetarian and In the Dream House, and those are A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crowned Shy by Becky Chambers. While those two books were really depressing and made me want to smack my head against a wall, these two books made me feel hope for my life again. Like, I honestly, even now, I am not sure about what is going to happen to me in the future, what my life is going to be like, and I just feel so hopeless all the time. But then I read these two books and they just made me feel so hopeful. They made me look at life in a different way. I don't mean this in a cringy cliche sort of way. It really, really made me, feel hope again about, everything is going to be fine. In the end, everything is going to go all right. I just need to have patience. And it also provided a glimpse into a world that we might never have. And I want to live in this world. I want to live in this book because everything seems so amazing and peaceful and calm in these books, and we don't have that in our world right now. So I want to live in this book. Really, in this book we follow Dex, a tea monger or tea service person who travels to these different towns and villages and cities, and then they provide them tea. They actually provide therapy in the guise of tea and a shoulder to cry on. People can come to them and can have a cup of tea along with like a conversation. They can either chat, they can either share their problems, or they can do nothing. Just be quiet, sit and have a cup of tea, which sounds so amazing. I would love a job like this, or I would just love a service like this, but we don't have that in our world. Everything costs money. But yeah, that is what Dex's job is in this book. But they don't feel content. Like, they are peaceful, yes, but they're not happy because they feel as if something is missing from their life, this purpose or meaning. And so, to rejuvenate their life, they decide to go to this not mysterious, go to this place that I don't remember right now. And on their way, they meet this really cute robot, Muscap, who wants the answer to the question, what do human beings really need in their lives? And throughout these two books, we follow their conversations, we join in their conversations about what life is, what human beings truly need in their life, why do they live the way they do, and what makes like this perfect world, perfect human being. And this book is just simple yet complex at the same time. Like, the way Dex goes to different towns and cities to provide a shoulder to cry to, these books are kind of like a shoulder to cry to because they understand you. These books understand what you're going through, what you're feeling right now, and they don't provide you a solution, but they make you feel seen, they make you feel heard. And that is what we want right now, right? We want free therapy. These books are free therapy, so go ahead and read them if you want free therapy. Next book is Aģua Viva by Clarice Lispector. This literally felt as if I was in Aģua Viva's mind. This felt as if I was in Clarice Lispector's mind, where her mind is scrambled eggs. You know how you have so many thoughts in your mind. If you like overthinking, you're wrong. You're not overthinking. Your limit of overthinkingness is this, while Clarice Lispector's overthinking level is here. She is the queen of overthinking. She is the queen of having such bizarre yet complex yet understandable thoughts. Like, she could be talking about one thing one moment, and the next moment she's just completely off topic. She is talking about something else, and that is exactly how we in our minds are. When I was reading this book, I felt as if she was articulating my thoughts in a much prettier way. So yeah, if you want to read a book that is really beautiful, has really great prose, and also makes you feel seen, if you're not a good writer, if you're not a good author, and you like relying on songs, movies, or books to make you feel as if, oh, this person is articulating exactly what I'm feeling, then read this book, because that is exactly how I felt when I was reading this. I felt as if Clarice Lispector had entered my mind. She had pulled all those thoughts out, like you know how you see in those Harry Potter movies, they put the wand here and they pull their thoughts out. Yeah, that is exactly what I felt this book was doing it to me. So go ahead and read this because this is just a really beautiful book. Like, do you see this? This is completely pink. Do you know why? Because I highlighted a quote in every single page. Every single, not a single page there is where I have not highlighted anything. That it has that beautiful writing. Go ahead and read this. All of these favorites are I think are compensating for the depression that the vegetarian and in the dream house gave me, because the next few books are so positive in my list. I was not expecting this at all. But the next favorite is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch album. I listened to Lorelei Gilmore when I decided not to read this book because she said that I could skip this. You know, she actually told Rory that she could skip this, and Rory is so much more intellectual than me. Though that is only what she is intellectual, because she definitely does not have the emotional intellect like I do. I have way more emotional intellect than her. Emotional quotation, emotional what IQ is, what intelligent quotient, emotional EQ. Yeah, okay. She might have a high IQ, but I have a higher EQ, and a book like Tuesdays with Mori just enhances my EQ because wow, this is also the book that Rory actually should have read instead of all the classics that she was reading, because this book would have helped her so much in her later years, in her college years. Like, she should not have listened to Lorelei Gilmore at all when Lorelei said to skip this book. This is the exact sort of book that Rory needed. It is about our author, Mitch Albom, who discovers that his professor is dying, Mori is dying, and so he starts to visit him once again after years of absence, of years of silence, and they resume their classes. They resume their Tuesdays classes, which is why Tuesdays with Mori, and they talk about every single thing in life. And Mori gives such beautiful advice. He gives such a beautiful way to look at life. When you read this book, you do feel as if someone elder to you is talking to you, is, you know, talking about their own times, how they used to lead their life, and they used to come and they then start comparing their life to your life, you know, their time to your time, and they give you these wonderful advices that you never listen to, but you might listen to those advices in this book, because you know, we don't listen to the people around us, but we do listen to strangers. So this book can act like your stranger, and you can read this book and feel as if, okay, maybe some elder out there understands me, maybe some elder out there can see, you know, what I'm feeling, instead of scolding me. Next favorite, and this is I think the favorite book of mine. Like, if I have to talk about only one favorite book of 2025, then this book would be it, and that is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This book broke me. Like, I was reading it on my Kindle, and I have said this before, but I wanted to throw my Kindle away. If I had like a paperback, I would have thrown it away, and I have never felt the urge to throw a book ever in my life. Not even while I was reading Earthlings, not even My Dark Vanessa. Like, My Dark Vanessa, I couldn't finish it because I wanted to just keep it down. I just did not want to read it. It was draining my energy completely. But with this book, Flowers with Algernon, I just wanted to throw this book away, burn this book, because oh my god, it just made me feel so many emotions. I love Charlie. I am quite convinced that if a book has a character called Charlie and letters, like, you know, epistolary format, then the book is going to be really amazing, because The Perks of Being a Wallflower is an epistolary novel that has a character named Charlie. This book is also an epistolary novel that is a cat that has a character named Charlie, and both of them need therapy and a way to communicate. So they communicate through these letters, which are amazing entertainment for us actually. In this book, we follow Charlie, our main character, who is a retard. So to become a part of the normal world, to become a normal human being, to become acceptable by the society, he decides to undergo an operation that would increase his IQ. and his IQ does increase. Like at a point, he has the highest IQ in the whole world, but then, yeah, then things happen. It's like all his life he was looking at the world through these rose colored glasses, and then one day these rose colored glasses just come off and he sees the world for what it really is. That is a very, very vicious thing. One of the worst things I read in this book was when Charlie came to the realization that the people that he considered to be his friends were not laughing with him, but they were laughing at him. And there are so many such realizations in this book that would just break your heart, like how Charlie's heart was broken. And yeah, it made me cry. It made books don't make me cry that easily. I don't cry reading easily, but this one did make me cry. It was so, so, so good. There are a lot of things this book questions, definitely, but one of the aspects that it questions the most is the empathy in people, or the lack thereof. Like, Charlie has faced so much in his life when he was a retard, but he did not understand, what was going on with him. But then he comes to the realization, he sees what people are doing to him, and then he has to live with this fact. So it's also like, was it better for me to have my rose colored glasses on throughout my whole life without knowing the reality, or is it better to live with the reality even though it really, really hurts me? It's a really depressing book. Like, it's a really, really depressing book, more depressing than The Vegetarian or In the Dream House, for me at least. It broke my heart, but I loved it. I loved every single moment of this book, and you should read it because you're missing out on a really good book. You're missing out on a beauty, and you should read it. Go ahead and read it. I command you to read it. The next favorite is Hunger by Choi Jin-young. This book was like Normal People but based in South Korea. It I love this book a lot. It's only like 100 pages with really, really short chapters. Like all of the chapters were like only a page or two long. So it took me a day to read this book. I adored it, by the way. Just adored it. It uses cannibalism as a way to showcase how the love existed between these two characters. When the book starts, we see one of our main characters, finding out that her boyfriend has died. For what reason, we don't know, but he has died. And now she cannot let him go to waste in a world that rejected him. So she decides to eat him instead. Yeah. Instead of letting his body decompose, she thinks that eating him would be a better option because she does not want to separate herself from him. If she consumes him, then he becomes a part of her. Yeah. It's a very bizarre book, really, really bizarre. And I loved every single moment of it. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I just adored this book. It talks about obviously humans, human connection, all of the things that you find in Normal People and you loved about it. But it also talks about how money affects relationship, how economy can affect a relationship. Love is not everything in your life. Society dictates you no matter how much you try to escape it. Money dictates your life, work dictates your life. And in this book, at least, South Korea was not having a good financial situation. A lot of people don't have a good financial situation in this book. So money was always like this issue hanging around them. But throughout these issues, they still found love for each other. They still found ways to enjoy their life. That is also a really good thing about this book, that even though they were suffering so much financially, they still found solace in each other. They found that, okay, you know what, we are having these problems, I know, but right now I just want to spend time with you because that makes me happy. And I loved that about this book, how optimistic they were just because they were with each other. So the love was there, really there. A bit bizarre love, but still there. And if I have to have a love in my life, then I would prefer my love to be like this because the romance was there. You just had to, really, really look past a few things. I loved this book a lot. It would stand to be my second best favorite book of the year. I guess. Yeah. The last favorite book of mine is Good Morning Midnight by Jean Rhys. This book is so underrated because when people hear the word Jean Rhys, or at least people who not don't read much classics, then they have only heard of her book White Sargasso Sea. They don't know of this book at all. I also did not know about this book. I found out about this from Emmy Reads. She recommended this book as her favorite book of 2024 or 2023 or something, and I was interested in this instead of White Sargasso Sea because for reading that book I had to first read Jane Eyre or Jane Eyre, but I did not have to read Jane Eyre or any other book to read this book, so I picked this up. And I actually saw this reel of Jack Edwards for his Inklings Club, where he meets a bunch of celebrities. And the female actor from Hamnet, the movie, I don't know her, I don't know her name, sorry, but she said that Good Morning Midnight reminded her of the show Fleabag. Like if you had to read Fleabag in a book format, then this book would be it. And that is so true because this is about our main character Sophia. Yeah, this is about a main character Sophia, who has gone through something like a tragic event has happened in her life, and now to escape her life, to escape this melancholy, to escape this grief, she moves to Paris and decides to become a whole new person. Like she thinks that if she can change her identity, if she can buy some new clothes, if she can dye her hair to a new color, then she can become a new person, and then she can teach herself indifference and she wouldn't have to return to her past at all. Does this actually happen? No. The grief stays with her, the loneliness stays with her. She does have to process that in order to move past it, but she just does not want to do that. And that is basically what this whole book is. It is just, how many pages is this? Wait. It is just 157 pages of loneliness, of devastation, of a person who will do anything but deal with her grief. It is a beautiful portrayal of that, actually, because even though she is going through something really devastating, really tragic, she still talks about stuff, she still does stuff, she just pours out her thoughts in her mind in a very relatable way. Like, I could not understand her situation at all, but I could understand her thoughts. I could relate to her thoughts. And that is what this book does brilliantly, I guess. It is just so depressing, but it does depression, it does loneliness in a really beautiful way that would stay with you forever. Like, it was written on the back of the book that a person who no one who reads Good Morning Midnight will ever forget it. And that is really true. I thought that was an exaggeration, but no, that is a fact. You will not forget this book. This book will stay with you forever in your life. It's so interesting that I started my book with a woman dealing with loneliness and isolating herself, and then I end my book also about a woman who is dealing with loneliness and grief. Like, that's a really beautiful circle that I made right now with my reading favorites. These were all the books that were my favorites of 2025. I feel I should also mention a few honorable mentions because although these books do not end up in my favorites list, they are really beautiful. I'll just name them out. I'll not describe them or anything because I have talked about these books, I think, in my previous videos. First one is The Nose by Nikolai Gogol. The second is Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna Van Veen. So good. A bit on the nose, at least I thought for me, but really enjoyable nonetheless. The third one is Sunrise on the Reaping. Is it a fan service? Maybe, yes, but I don't see what else should have happened in this book. Like, history repeats itself, sort of thing. So I don't know what people were expecting, but I enjoyed it. Like, actually, enjoying is a really bad word, but yes, that is what I did. I enjoyed this book a lot. Next is The Night and the Moth. I liked this book, I really did, but it was not on the same level as One Dark Window. I think One Dark Window, even though it was a bit predictable and a bit cliche, it was just well written, or maybe it's because, that book just really stayed with me. This book however, did not. It just felt really repetitive. But I loved the gargoyle in this book. Like, the gargoyle was the cutest thing ever. He made the whole book, enjoyable for me. Yeah. Next is Shy by Max Porter. Next, Territory of Light by Yuko Tsushima. Next is The River Has Roots by Amal El Mohtar. I had read the This Is How You End a War. This is how you leave me war, or something like that, really popular book. I don't remember right now. I read it. I hated that book. Like, I couldn't stand that book at all, and then I DNF'd it. But the River Has Roots, so beautiful, so lyrical. It is exactly how a modern fairy tale should read. Like, this book is a really short book, and it is exactly a modern fairy tale. Like, this is the sort of book that I wouldn't read to my children, or I would read to my children. Would I? I'm not sure, but this is a really beautiful fairy tale nonetheless. Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This is not about a girl who falls in love and forgets her objective. This is about a girl who stays focused on what she wants in her life, that is to free her mother. She does not sway in her way. She does not forget her purpose. She fights for it constantly, even after living for a really, really long time. Like, so many centuries passed, and she's still focused on freeing her mother. So I just love that about this book. Last honorary mention is Heaven by Mieko Kawakami, because that book was about bullying, and I think Mieko Kawakami did a beautiful thing talking about the bond that the main characters built between themselves, like, the shared trauma that they shared. And I just loved how she talked about bullying and how bad it was, and just everything about that book was really good. So yeah, these were all the books that I found to be my favorites of 2025. Tell me what your favorite book was, if you have watched this video till this here. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this. Bye.